The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Eric Robinson, and welcome to I Am the CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, a.k.a. The Soul Motivator, and today I'm joined by my co-host,
Mr. James Burrell, a.k.a. The Professor. What's happening, y'all?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a dynamite. James, today's show is going to be blazing.
This is going to be on fire. Right now, get your phones out.
Get your phones out.
Start
get
sharing.
Them out. Start sharing.
Y'all know
Come
the
on.
routine. Start sharing, start liking, send me some smiley faces, send me some of them.
We gotta have
some
smiley
hearts.
faces. I want the hearts.
I like
today.
the hearts. I'm a heart guy. I like the hearts.
I'm still on the thumbs up, but I'm gonna take some hearts today.
Well, send me some of those hearts. We need some of those hearts pumping. You see how they pump all over the pop up?
Yeah,
all
they
over
can pop up all over the
You know what I
place.
mean? The thumbs up, they cool.
I see you on it. Pop them up, share, like, comment, put this thing all over. Tell your mom, your auntie, your grandma, your co-worker. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a dynamite guest for y'all today. Ooh, today's show, James, is gonna be fire.
Yes.
We got the lady herself.
Yes, this is for the ladies. Shout out to the ladies. But listen, all the ladies, get on now. Share this to the CEOs.
The CEO.
Yes, sir.
The she. Oh, the she. Jane, you done put a new topic. Man, we're gonna hashtag CEO. Woo! Wow, that's fine. I love that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble, ladies. We're gonna get in trouble. But today is National. It's the start of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're gonna talk about that.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that. So you're going to start seeing some of the sports, the athletes with the pink ribbons on.
Yeah.
But something we're going to talk about too, James, you don't hear as much. It's also National Awareness Month for domestic violence. The purple ribbons.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're going to touch a little bit on that. We got to jump right into it. We're going to take this commercial break and come right back with a guest. She's going to blow your mind. I might become a fan today. So don't get upset if I'm sitting back, blown away, and asking questions I want to ask. You know, every now and then you get a guest, and you get a chance to ask them the question that you want to ask, or you want the answer. And sometimes we do it because we want the people to know the answer. I think today's one of those. This is a show for me.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the fire marshal and them probably outside getting ready because this thing is going to be on fire.
Fire. Right to this commercial.
Be right back.
Right back. Hey everyone, welcome to I'm the CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, aka The Soul Motivator, and today I'm joined by my co-host,
Mr. James Burrell, a.k.a. The Professor.
And ladies and gentlemen, if y'all sitting here, I know y'all looking. I'm just gonna give y'all. Can I just give them a chance just to look at you, pause, and see you? She looks like a statue, don't she?
Special guest in the building.
In the house, we got none other than Dr. Marilyn Walker herself. Dr. Walker.
Eric.
Thank you for being here. First of all, the pleasure's mine. Do you mind if I just? I know we're going to talk a lot today. Is it okay? We kind of, I don't want to say kidnap is the word, but can we kind of hold you ransom, if you will? We ain't got a lot of money, but can we hold you ransom for the rest of the show? Is that
Yes,
okay?
you can. Yes, you can.
All right, thank you. Because a lot of our guests, we only have them on for maybe like 10 to 15 minutes, but we need you on a little bit longer. Okay. Yeah, they see you. That's okay, y'all. Don't worry about it. I know we live, but don't worry about it. We got the phone ringing. It's blazing. They want the doctor, but y'all got her, okay? Don't worry about that. We're going to take care of that later. Dr. Walker, I just want to share with the people how we kind of met. Mm-hmm. It's ironic that we met at an event from another Doc Walker, but he's not the esteemed. He's popular, Rick Doc Walker, they call him, but he's not the doctor like you. He's not the educational doctor. Oh, let me leave that one alone.
We're gonna leave that alone.
We're gonna leave that one alone because he might be. I don't know. So we met at an event, and I asked you if you wouldn't mind come sharing. I saw your book, and would you mind come sharing and being a guest? You were so gracious enough to say yes, and I want to ask you that question. Like, what is it about you that humbles you and let you say, you know what? I'm okay to reach out and I'm okay to give back. What is it about you and your presence that allows you to do that?
Well, a lot of it goes back to, I would say, my beginning, my birth, my growing up, being from Trinidad. Okay. I need to at least share that. And grew up in a family of, it had 8 siblings. There were 8 of us. And with that, you grow up where you're not selfish. So you learn to share, you learn to give, you learn to serve.
Okay.
And being number 7 out of 8, I always thought myself to be the perfect child.
Woo! I like that. Okay. The 7 to perfection. I like that. So now, I read your bio. I had a chance to do a little bit of reading up on you, and you are like amazing. I mean, I looked at your journey from, and I don't want to even go back to your work career, but you had a esteemed career in the employment workforce, but then you transitioned over. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. But can you just share a little bit of some of the things that you do and some of the business that you started? You're like the phenomenal businesswoman.
So I actually had 27 years at Bank of America.
Okay.
Retired as an officer. And then I went on to work at Fannie Mae, and I worked 8 years there. Life happened, and I ended up leaving.
Okay.
Not knowing exactly where I was going or where life was going to take me. Okay. So sometimes we are thinking that you're going in one direction, and then life takes you into another direction. And at that point of time, what you would call a crossover. Okay. So then I had to be able to find myself. What is my true purpose in life? Okay. So I've worked in the financial industry for 35 years. Okay. And now what do I do when life happens? Okay. So at that point, I more or less took time to myself, and I was like, well, what is it that you can do with your eyes closed? What is it you can do whilst you're asleep? What is it that you have gotten the most compliments about? Okay. So I started
teaching right
looking
now.
at myself, and I started wondering, where do I go from here? And the one thing was always fashion. So I've always been told, you're always so well dressed, you're like the poster child, you know, because regardless if they had dress down, my dress down was not like anybody else's dress down.
Oh, we could tell. You fly.
In case y'all don't understand, we'll show you later, she does have the purse to match. Like, she comes
doing what I do.
Doing what you do.
So that is where I actually started more or less, I started my own fashion business. Okay. And from there, I started my boutique. Okay. And then from there, now I'm doing a fashion show on a cruise ship. And that's every July. And I normally have about 60 to 70 models. And I am actually able to dress all of them. And we go from all sizes, all ages. It doesn't matter, male, female, I'm able to dress all of them. Wow. And that's what I do.
Wow.
Fashion. I don't know, James, did you just catch what she just said?
Yeah. She slid that in right, nice and smooth at the end.
Like it ain't nothing. Yeah. We do a fashion show on a cruise ship, and I dress all the models. Because, you know, there's some fashion shows out there, local, not even on a cruise ship, and you got to go to the store and bring your own clothes.
And I take my clothes on there. I design them all. And I always have something to fit the right person, the right body, the right personality. And that is what I call my red carpet moment, is when that person's personality goes along with the design that I put on them. And then you see that little smile becomes a chuckle, becomes a laugh, and then they start doing their own little thing. And that's the red carpet moment.
Ooh, wow. We just touching the iceberg.
Yes, sir.
We just touching the icebergs. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Is that okay with you,
That's fine
Dr.
with
Walker?
me.
We're going to come back and talk more. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Be right back after this call, this message. Got to pay some bills. Woo! Hey everyone, welcome to I'm the CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, aka the Soul Motivator. And today I'm joined by my co-host,
James Burrell, a.k.a. The Professor.
and as you notice, we're sitting here, we're joined by the lovely Dr. You see it right here, Marilyn Frances Walker, author. We're going to talk about your book a little bit later.
Okay.
So y'all don't go nowhere. But Dr. Walker, I want to talk about women in business. You kind of share a little bit of things, and y'all going to learn a little bit more about Dr. Walker. 'Cause I don't want you, this show's, we could almost dedicate it to the women. We don't get a chance to have a lot of
Women in
powerful women
business.
that we have. But let's talk about this women in business, and we're going to take them on a journey. Is that okay?
That is okay with me. And we can take it a step further. And just not women in business, but as a womanpreneur.
A womanpreneur. What? Man, we get more and more names. I done got the James
You're
came with the
CEO.
CEO. We got the
And it's a
womanpreneur.
womanpreneur.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I gotta take a sip. Hold on. Y'all done got me drinking on the show. So, women in business. You mentioned something earlier about how you got started, and you saying that what can I do in my sleep?
Mm-hmm.
To some of the women out there, the people like, I want to do something, but they don't know where to get started. How did you find? How did you find it? How can somebody else find their groove? And is there a place for women in business? Because some women think their places ain't. They don't have a place in business.
Well, I believe we're all born with gifts and talents.
Okay.
Every one of us have something that we can do that comes easy to us.
Okay.
And those are the things I consider your strength. What is it that you think that you can really do? It doesn't have to be what you are doing, doesn't have to be what I'm doing.
Okay.
It could be anything, because it takes a multitude of talents to be able to make, that one thing. And for me, I had to take time, get into that quiet place, and be
Okay.
able to go within. What I did when I left corporate America, I went back to my birth country. I went back to Trinidad.
Okay.
I stayed in an Airbnb, and I allowed the person to pamper me and to help me heal from within, and to be able to do a little bit of soul searching, and to
Okay.
really find you have given 35 years of your life to corporate America. The rest of my life, I would like to do something that will make a difference to others, and something that I enjoy doing, and something that I do not look at as if it's work. When you look at it as if it's work, then it becomes a job. And I've given my 35 years. Now I want to be able to do something. When I get up the next day, every day that I get up, it must be to do something that I will love and something that I can do to help someone else. So that's what I do.
Dr. Walker, in your bio, you mentioned that when you went through your crossover journey, you referenced it as freeing yourself. Okay, so, and just now, you just blew my mind when you said that you had to really decompress and get your mind and your soul right from all those years of being an employee. You had to get your space right before you transition over. So can you kind of just explain a little bit where were you mentally, and did you feel like you had to decompress and get your mind right before you transferred over?
And mentally, I felt imprisoned because I found where I was, people wanted me to think the way they think. They wanted me to do things the way they did it. And I couldn't do things the way I wanted to. And even when regardless of what I did, it just never seemed like it was good enough. Because we all are unique in our own way.
That's right.
And what I'm bringing to the table is different to what you're bringing to the table and what you're bringing to the table.
That's right.
So why is it that we cannot allow someone to be themselves? Let me be able to bring part of me into here and be able to accept it instead of judging. So when you get into that place, for me, being able to be free, I was able to think the way I want to think. I was able to dress the way I want to dress. When I get up, well, when I was even in corporate America, the first part of my day was getting dressed to go to work. And that was the best part of my day. That was my favorite time, because at that point I know that I'm dressed and now I'm going to present myself to the world. And so I made the world my red carpet.
She just come up with these catchphrases. Like, I made the world my red carpet.
It is my red carpet.
Wow.
So when I step out, it's not just about me. I want to be able that when you look at me, you'll see something about the way I look that will make you think, I know I can do a little bit better than this.
You got me sitting up right.
You know, so it's all about presentation. So, and that was something I learned from my mom. It did not matter if we were going to the store. If we were going to the store, we had to be able to change and go to the store. We just didn't run to the corner store just looking like we represented a family. Let's say it that way. We represented a family. So that is the only way I know how is to represent a family, is by presenting myself to the world. And giving you all something to, you know, to smile about. I looked at each of you when you all saw me and it was like, oh my God, you look like $1 million.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
You do, and it does. It makes me say, hey, I can do better. You know what I mean? It really, you really exhibit that. Let's talk about this. Now we transition, and today now we got this month with abuse, and you talk about freeing yourself and being able to do some of the things you wanted. In the corporate world, I know we talk about domestic violence, but to the women out there in the workplace, there's some of them are in abusive situations in relationships there. What's your feel on that? Because I know we just thinking mostly the spouses in the homes or significant others. But what's your take on that, women in the workplace?
There are many in the workplace who are in positions based on their experience. And not because they're able to manage someone or to be a leader to someone. They are placed in that position because they were able to do that job. And when you have to deal with others, they really don't know how to talk to them. They really don't know how to treat them. And words can really be detrimental if you are not careful. So with that said, when I went through that, I took all of the things that were said to me. My message is, when someone says something negative to you, take that and turn it around and get out from that situation. So if they say you can't do this, you tell yourself, I can do that. And you do it.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
So, you have a book here.
So I have my book. Well, let's go back from started my fashion business. From the fashion business, I started a nonprofit. So the fashion is my passion. The nonprofit is my service, my give back. So I started the International Transformation Institute for Humanity, and that is a program to help youths who have aged out of the foster care system, and to be able to help them to know what their purpose in life is, because I'm focusing on their strengths and not their weaknesses or what someone told them they couldn't do. So outside of my nonprofit, then I actually started I had my boutique, and then now I have my real estate. So I'm also flipping homes. So I'm a real estate investor.
So we're going to talk.
Wait a minute.
James says right here, man.
Wait a minute.
We're going to talk real estate a little bit later in the show.
Wait a minute. I told you her bio was impressive, but this lady is a serial entrepreneur. Serial, okay? Cereal.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So I actually interviewed my contractors, and all a part of that actually, some of that experience came from my years at Bank of America because I did commercial real estate. But that was on the lending side. Now I am managing the project as a project manager and everything. Choosing my colors, choosing everything, hiring everyone, overseeing the project from beginning to end. So that I really enjoyed doing. And then from there, I decided, based on my life journey, I decided I wanted to document my in my book. But this book only came about when I went to a graduation for my doctorate. And after I wrote my thesis, which was Leading from Ground Zero, and Leading from Ground Zero was that dark place in my life that I took and raised myself up from there to be where I am today. And when they actually read my thesis, they were like, does she have a book? And the answer was no. And they made me promise at graduation that I'll write a book. And here is my book today.
Wow,
You know what?
Let me hold this thing up so people can see.
Yes.
And she has a full-size picture of herself on the back, looking fly in her own fashion.
I'm loving
You know,
me.
if we can get this slide, I want to touch on this, James, because let's talk about this. If we can get the slide, let's talk about the employee to entrepreneur journey. Because you talked about being in a dark place, you know, and so we're talking about the next slide if we can. And so the employee to entrepreneur journey. Can you talk about being in a dark place? Now you were at one of the top of your game, so to speak, as an employee, and so some people would say, how could she be in a dark place and this is where she, you know what I mean? Like, how could where a lot of people out in the head is like, I'm striving to get to where you are. How could that be a dark place? So when you say that, what's the transformation? What was that? What was that dark place? If you don't mind us talking about that, not too much. I don't want to make you cry on this show.
Okay. That dark place was at a time when, now I look at it in a different light.
Okay.
That dark place is what actually got me to where I am. It was a stepping stone. But when you're in that dark place, you really cannot see, you cannot understand. But that dark place was at a point where I would say there were people that I reported to, or people I worked with. And they, I guess I would say now, didn't realize that some of the words that they were saying to me or the things they were saying to me, how detrimental it was. And those things that were said to me or were done to me kept pushing me into that place where the harder I tried, it just wasn't good enough. I would be working long hours until midnight. They couldn't figure out how I was getting the work done. And then at the point where I'm doing a double master's, right? And got my evaluation, and I was told that I was threatened with being fired. That was one thing. Never been fired in 35 years. And to be threatened with that kind of pushed me into that place. And then I was told that others were doing my work for me.
Wow.
That was like the worst evaluation I've ever had in my life. And at that point of time, during that journey, I actually found myself at the Gallery Place Metro contemplating suicide.
Wow.
And it was standing there and feeling that pull. Do I jump? Do I not jump? So the tunnel is dark. You're seeing this train coming. What should I do? And that night, I got onto the train. I did make it onto the train and went straight to church. And I belong to Ebenezer AME. And my pastor, Granger, that night, he said, anyone who needs prayer, come up to the altar. He had no idea what I had just was contemplating. So I went up to the altar, and at that point he said to me, it took you had a difficult time getting here tonight. And I said, yes, but he had no idea. But you know that's a man of God. So at that point of time, he prophesied to me about being in that dark place and do not go back there because it will kill me. At that time, I had no idea what he was talking about until it was time when, after leaving corporate America and coming to find out when HR called and, are you coming back? And I'm like, do I have to go back to that same department? And I was told yes. And at that point, I couldn't because I was under doctor's care. I was seeing a psychiatrist. I was seeing a therapist, the whole works. And then, although that place was dark and I didn't know where to go, I know that there came a time that I could not, this was not my life. Okay. It was not my lifestyle. I could not continue living where I'm getting a check just because. And so I told my psychiatrist that I am going to take my life back into my own hands. And I started the steps that are shared in here. I actually started doing more natural things to help me in my recovery. Okay. So instead of taking medication, I started meditating. So I considered, instead of medication, meditation. I started being able to use vitamin D. You need the sunlight. You will find a lot of things. You need to get out and walk. All of those things start helping you, mind, body, and soul. And my mind started, you start forgiving. That was one of the main things I had to do, was to forgive all those who I thought had gotten me to where I am. Okay. But then you have to realize, too, that sometimes your haters can be the ones who are predicting your future and your life. Because I had that person tell me, you do not need to be in this department. You need to be dressing windows in a store because of your fashion sense. And I took that and I said, I am not going to be dressing windows, but I will own the store. I am not going to dress the windows for a store. I will own the store.
Did y'all just hear that?
And that's
the hater was saying you should be dressing windows, not doing this, not doing these finances, handling these millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. You should be dressing windows. And you say, you know what?
Promise me that that's what you will do. And here I am today, a fashion designer, have my boutique, and doing a fashion show on a cruise ship.
I don't dress windows. I own the store. What? Oh my goodness. I hope somebody's listening to this and saying, I want to get out of my dark place. Because the more I hear about this, Dr. Walker, you can be in a dark place and still, maybe I'm still doing well at work, but then it's not what God has called you to be doing.
I shouldn't have been there. I have been to, why are you here? You should be in New York fashion. People have been saying that to me for years. But I continue because I love, banking. I love what I was doing. But that was not really my calling. So now I'm in a place where I get up every day and I look forward to my day. What am I going to wear? What am I going to create? What am I going to do? Who can I serve? So I am at a place where I'm passionate about my fashion. I am still serving those that I need. Even when I share my fashion, I'm still serving because I do it one-on-one. I love being able to dress that person. I don't just have them go and pick something out. I choose what I want them to wear and what I know will match their personality. And then with my real estate, at least I'm providing housing for those who need a home.
Absolutely.
And then this book is going to help those heal and transform from that dark place to light.
Well, we got to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, can we talk about the book and about the real estate and about your fashion, so how people can get in touch with Dr. Walker?
Sure.
They want to talk. Y'all wasn't, James, were you expecting this?
Not at all. I told y'all this was going to be on fire, man. I told y'all this was going to be on fire. You're hearing it from the real. This is, again, you talk about entrepreneurship. This lady embodies entrepreneurship and ownership. And I just want to stress that one point before we go on commercial. She said the person pictured her as the employee dressing the window. She said, no, I'm going to own that shit. Come on.
Drop the mic.
Come on.
We'll be right back. everyone. Welcome to I Am the CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, and I'm joined today by my co-host,
Mr. James Burrell, a.k.a. The Professor.
Woo, we're sitting here, if y'all see her already, if you've been tuned in already, you know we're none other than the doctor herself, Miss Dr. Marilyn Walker.
Setting this thing on fire over here.
Fire! What? If we can go back one more slide, we want to talk about this book. Dr. Walker, y'all can reverse one more slide back. We want to talk about this book before we jump to the real estate. Right here, Discovering Your True Identity. The author, you didn't drop so much knowledge. Now, you talked about getting your doctorate degree and your thesis, and they said you need to write a book. Mm-hmm. How did you summon that energy and passion, and what is this book designed to do?
One thing I would like to share about, I know someone's like, you actually have a real book. And someone again asked me, how do you write so many pages? Mm-hmm. You know, they can't fathom that. But a lot of it was, whilst I was going through my life journey, mm-hmm. I actually used to journal. Okay. So journaling is one thing that you can do to help get those thoughts out of your mind and onto paper. And so that was one of the steps for healing and transformation. So over the years, I have been journaling, and then at the point where I was supposed to write a book, I went back and I got all of my journals, and I started being able to piece all of that together. But outside of that, there were things that took place in my life that I guess I kind of stuffed down because of the pain you don't want to remember.
Suppressing.
And so there were times when I was sitting and actually writing or typing, and your hands are just moving.
Okay.
Faster than the words or the thoughts are coming. And I didn't know what that was. It's as if someone just took your hand and it's just going off the paper. And I know people say, some people have writer's, block. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have that because for some reason I knew it was pouring out of the inside.
Okay.
So things were coming out, and then when questions were coming up, like, what about this or what about that? And I realized there were other things that I had dealt with. Mm-hmm. And didn't realize as far as the different types of abuse. So then I had to go back and deal with those things. So it was healing for me first before anyone else can be able to use this book and the steps in the book. So with that said, after pulling all of that together, here is the book.
Discovering Your True Identity. So, is this book for somebody who's been on the abuser side or the both parties? Is it more geared towards the person who's been abused, or is it geared towards the abuser to help them recover from bullying? Yeah.
Great question. The thing about this book, it's for everyone.
Okay.
We are talking about from children.
Okay.
Who are being abused. Because we're not just talking about adults. I cover from the children.
Okay.
What parents need to look for, what parents need to do. Sometimes we allow our kids to sit on someone's lap. Some of the little things that we take for granted, and you have to be careful about those things because you need to know it's not the person that you think is the enemy that abuses or sexually abuses someone. It's that person that's right in the home. It's that neighbor, it's that uncle, it's that, you name it. And so I cover some of those things in there. It's not just the woman who's being abused, but there are men who are being abused and they're silent about it because they don't want to talk about it. Absolutely. Because there's so much shame that is associated with abuse and the bullying. Okay. Sometimes you have the mental abuse. You may not be physically abused, but you're also dealing with the mental abuse, the psychological abuse. Okay. You have different, I actually even, not to go too much into it, I even talk about medical abuse, trusting the doctor. And I trusted the doctor. And then the doctor did something that I wasn't aware of because I was young. And it wasn't until later on, come to find out, just the other day, that something that should not have taken place did take place.
You know, and we don't hear about that a lot. You enlightened me so far to a couple of things. workplace abuse, and I was somewhat familiar, but I really wasn't. I was only familiar because I've talked to people who've been in that situation. And I'm like, wow, that's not a healthy situation. You're in a toxic situation, and me having leadership skills, I can recognize you're under somebody with bad leadership.
Yes.
So I just happened to recognize it, but it wasn't. I didn't label it. I didn't realize that until you just made me aware of that. That's really probably more prevalent than not.
It is, because a lot of times, like, I know my therapist or my psychiatrist will ask me, why did you stay? But a lot of people are staying in the workplace and dealing with it because they need that paycheck to take care of their bills and their home. And that's the only reason I stayed.
Okay.
Because that money that I was making, it was good money.
Did you feel trapped though? Did you feel like a slave to the paycheck at that
I
point?
was, because you tend to rely on that check. And then I got to the point where I'm like, I don't have to rely on that check. I can rely on God. I don't have to do that. And being out, it's been 7 going on 8 years. And I know this 8th year, the 8th is like new beginning. And I'm watching my life just transform from one to the next. You know, so when you're dealing with things like that, you have to be that person and have to ask yourself, what is my life really worth? Is it worth you being here and where I almost died and unhappy, but I had the money? Or are you going to a place of doing something that you enjoy doing and not making that money, but you are happy and you're at peace? So that's the journey that I decided to take.
So now for you, it became like that life or death.
Yes.
My life versus. So now for somebody who's maybe not got to that life part, but they don't realize that that's the path they're heading down, how do you start to reprogram your mind? Does the book help me transform?
The book will help, because you will start seeing the different things that I went through.
Okay.
And even now in speaking with others, and they're like, you know, I'm going through that on my job.
Yeah.
And there's so many more people are talking about it because of the book. Many times I thought about not doing the book. But then I'm like, if I can help just one person, it's worth it. And that was what kept me going in regards to finishing the book.
Well, I'm glad you did. Now, how we got here? How the people can get the book? MarieFrancisDesigns.com.
They can actually get it from Amazon.
Then go to Amazon.
You can get it from me. There's a special edition that's in full color. Those are the ones that I have on sale. You can get that from me by giving me a call or going to my email.
So if I go here to MarieFrancisDesigns.com, can I contact you directly?
Yes.
So her information is that MarieFrancis.com.
Designs.com.
MarieFrancisDesigns.com. Designs with an S, and the G goes before the N.
Or we can go email. Marilyn Walker 1218 @gmail.com.
Marilyn Walker, MarylynWalker
1218 @gmail.com.
Marilyn Walker 1218 @gmail.com. You got to get the book, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all got it. I'm telling you. See, I'm glad we talked about this, Dr. Walker, because this is going to bless so many people. This is I got to just hold it. It's a solid book, and you even looking fly in the back. Like, really? Like, I mean, when I met it, I was like, "Is that you? That's wow." So my thinking, I'm saying to myself is, this is a book that almost, if you're a parent, you need this. If you, every parent needs, because bullying, you might be the bully, your child could be in situations, because I have now adult children, and I'm hearing situations that they was in that I didn't realize they was in, that maybe if I had this book, I might have been able to prevent that, or at least help them through it, or coach them through it, instead of waiting until now, 5, 6, 10 years later, find out, wow, I didn't know you was in those situations.
Start the conversation.
Yeah.
You have the conversation. You are able to have open communication with your children. You're talking about bullying. And now it's not just about, we're talking about bullying by just someone saying things, but social media. How many people are committing suicide because of bullying on social media? What? So this is not just something that is just one area we're talking about.
Okay.
This is a gamut of different things that we're talking about. So the things that look as if it's not going to be harmful to you, those are the subtle ones that creep in, and you're wondering, why is this child acting like this? Why is this child behaving like this? Why has her behavior changed?
Okay.
You know, and those are things you have to pay attention to. We talk to each other, but we don't listen to when someone is giving us a message. And then when that person has committed suicide, we're like, well, I had no idea.
Yeah, and you kind of
But
really
you've been
did.
saying it all along, but you just don't. You have to be keen enough to listen and to hear when that person's crying for help.
Woo, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this is the show you're gonna rewind over and over again. Get the book, share this with somebody, share this share this. I don't care if you're out there, everybody sharing silly dog tricks, silly pet tricks, you name it, whatever it is. You need to take this show and share it with somebody. Share with as many people as you can, because somebody needs to hear this.
Absolutely.
You can actually save somebody's life.
Somebody's life. Absolutely.
You know, and if it's just one life, that's enough.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come right back after this commercial. We're going to talk money. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk real estate. Yeah, I know y'all been waiting for that cheddar, but here's the deal. If you ain't happy, you ain't got your life, the money doesn't matter.
Exactly. I had the money and I almost lost my life.
Almost, you knocked me out my chair now. I had the money, almost lost my life.
Right.
And some people are chasing the money and not realizing they're losing their life in the process.
Yeah.
Get the book. Come back though. We're gonna talk money, real estate. Let's see some of y'all real estate gurus. Let's see how much y'all really know. Yeah.
Be right back.
Be right back, Dr. Well, you used to fund these deals. You was funding the $1 million deal. So y'all listen.
From my experience, the ball goes flat for everyone, and many of these athletes aren't prepared.
The biggest thing for college athletes that I've seen and that I've experienced is really maintaining that scholarship. You know, there's no such thing as a 4-year scholarship. I never knew that before.
As far as the college process, it would be a benefit if coaches were able to educate me on the process. So that's something that I'm finding out that we're having to do on our own.
I wish there was an app that could walk me through the NCAA clearinghouse.
I find myself always wanting to rely on coaches. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to do it myself and help my son through his journey on the field and off the field.
When I was in school, it always felt like my parents were nagging me about my grades. I had the fastest track time in the district, so I just knew I was going to get a scholarship. When it didn't happen, I was devastated. Not only was my sports career over, but I was also not accepted into my college of choice.
If I had an app that would teach me about sports, I would love it.
Whether you like it or not, sports is a big part of our lives. In the U.S. alone, 36.2 million students grades K through 12 participated in sports for 2016. Did you know that high school participation has increased for 28 straight years? Youth athletics is now big business and is estimated to generate over $15 billion in 2017. The time and financial commitment to compete and succeed is greater than ever before. Unfortunately, 3 decades later, the same question remains. Why are so many athletes continuing to fail? Welcome to Smart Jock, the premier youth athletic company. At Smart Jock, our dedicated team has created the perfect blend of new technology, education, and real-life experiences to revolutionize the world of sports. Our company's mission is to make every athlete better. A few of our products and services include Smart Jock apps, Smart Jock IQ, Smart Jock workshops, Smart Jock online classes, and Smart Jock Media. We need your help to bring this to life. So many families are in need of Smart Jock and they don't even know it. We can't do it without you, the fans, to give us that boost to get started. It's kind of like having the home field advantage. Your donations matter and every dollar makes a difference. To support our team, visit www.smartjock.net. That's www.smartjock.net. Remember, Smart Jock is not just a slogan, it's a way of life.
Hey everyone, welcome to I Am the CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, aka the Soul Motivator. And today I'm joined by my co-host,
the Professor, James Burrell. What's happening, y'all?
And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't realize it by now, we are joined in the studio, live in person, by none other than Dr. Marilyn Walker herself. She is the entrepreneur. She is the author. She's a, James, you used to call her, what you call her, James?
Serial entrepreneur.
You call to define that for the people out there, because some people may not know that what that means.
Okay, I'm gonna
They
give y'all.
think she like Fruit Loops or something.
She has multiple. She's the CEO of multiple businesses, not just one. Multiple ownership, fashion, travel, author. I mean, man,
humanitarian,
her
nonprofit.
bio is something serious. Okay, and again, I can tell she has that. You have a West Indian background, don't you?
Yes, I'm from Trinidad.
And you know
Trinidad and
they work
Tobago.
hard. But she took it to a whole nother level. You know how they say most people wasn't even have many jobs. She has many businesses.
Many businesses.
Many businesses.
loving it.
Many
They're
businesses.
loving
So
it.
shout out
Loving
to
it.
my West Indian people. I love y'all, man.
Oh my goodness, Trinidad Tobago, baby, yes. And now, you know, I mentioned Fruit Loops. It came to my mind because not only I give people free promotion, but I'm looking at the colors. You're so colorful. But in talking to you during the break, these colors mean something. And you know, do you mind sharing with us, like, what does this color represent? It's a personal connection to you right now.
Personal connection, because you just don't. I wear my clothes with a purpose. There's a reason. So it's not just about the style. And today I would like to dedicate this day to my mom. Because my mom was, she had breast cancer. And today being Breast Cancer Awareness Day, I would like to be able to give a shout out to my mom, although she has been gone about maybe 8 years ago. And today, this month, is the beginning of Domestic Violence Month. So breast cancer is pink or red, and then we have purple is domestic violence. So I just have a combination of all of that in here.
I love it. I love it. Now, do you mind sharing? I know you said your mom. Is it okay we give her name? Who's your mom?
My mom was Josephine Francis.
Okay.
And she actually is my inspiration for fashion. She was a full-figured, what I consider saucy woman. She never complained about her size. She just loved her size, and she was like a size 22. But I never heard my mom complain about being a big woman, a plus-size woman, you know, all of those terminologies that, you know, we have. But I love the way my mom was so confident in the way that she dressed and the way she dressed her children.
Okay. So now, you talked about fashion. I got to ask this question. We didn't ask that. So you gave me some inspiration where the fashion came from, your mom, but the designer, like, do you design your clothes or do you have other designers? How does that come about? Because I'm wondering, just because you like clothes, does that mean you can design clothes, you can coordinate? You know what I mean? I like fashion, but you're doing this thing. So how does that come? What's the piece? Where do you fit in?
Where I fit in is I never went to school for fashion, but so I am self-taught. So for me, again, when you are passionate about something, I love fashion, I love clothes. And for me, it's just having that eye. I do have that eye for fashion.
Okay.
And I could be looking at anything, but I see beyond that.
Okay.
So I may look at this shirt, but then I see, what can I do with this shirt? And I take it to another level.
Okay.
So like my Trinidadian friends, well, I have one who sews to me in Trinidad, Denise Hercules. I must give shout out to Denise. And I would push her to design certain things. And so they call me Miss Couture.
Okay.
So they like Miss Couture because nothing is simple.
Okay.
I have a seamstress, someone who sews to me in Silver Spring, Maryland. And she's like, Miss Marilyn, you never bring anything simple to us. But that's just, I don't see it that way, but that's just the eye that I have.
So you can create original designs.
I love design. I get inspiration from other designs.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that I'm original, but I will see something on someone, but I will see something beyond that.
Well, I guess by original, I'm saying, like, if I needed a shirt design, you could actually design a shirt. It's not like, okay, well, go get John Smith designs is in your shop. Like, these are...
Right, no, right. These are original designs, and these are what I would consider if I see it and I will look at this sleeve, instead of putting two sleeves, I would be like, let's just do one sleeve. Or let's do short sleeve and long sleeve. Or let's do, I will just do, and I love collars. I love, I call them my happy collars, and I just love doing like fancy sleeves, fancy colors. That's really kind of like my strength.
Okay. James, I don't know. I'm being selfish here. I'm seeing some I'm CEO Custom Designs who, y'all, Don't play with me, Dr. Walker.
Well, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm seeing. I'm loving it. Yes, yes. Some of y'all gonna get blessed with some. Y'all gonna look fashion. We're gonna turn this game up.
So in my fashion, I have different people sewing for me, sewing different things.
Okay.
So my the person who sews, Denise, who sews for me in Trinidad, she is really good in doing my menswear.
Okay.
Really good in my menswear. And she can do everything, but my menswear, I love what she does. And then I have another friend of mine who is from Ghana, and she sends my designs back to Ghana, and they actually, like, these were done in Ghana. So I have a lot of authentic pieces that were actually done in Ghana. And then I have someone who sews for me, like, in New York.
Okay.
So I have different people sewing different types of, fashion.
Loving it.
International business. I love
Come on
it.
now, what? We're going to collaborate. Now, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't talk about this money and this real estate game. I'm going to get in trouble anyway. I'm already in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. I do things wrong, Dr. Walker. Don't get on me. But the real estate. I kind of know how you got into real estate only because you was into the on the banking side. But really, what got you into the real estate? What was your starting point that says, hey, I'm going to do this?
I've always, for some reason, when I see construction, I've always been drawn to construction. And I've always been drawn to bridges. How do they do that? When you see bridges being built, you see buildings going up. Today, you go in and you see a building at a hole. And next thing you go back and it's up. Street, all of those things. How do they plan a beltway with exits and they leave enough space to add another exit later on? All of those things have always, I've always been interested in that. And at Bank of America, I actually was in the commercial real estate. I was one of those who went out into the to the property. I had my hard hat. They actually even had a pink hard hat for me because I was the one woman who was there with all of the engineers, the contractors, everybody who comes together for the draw meeting. You have the developer and all of them. And I would sit there and we'll go through what is how much percentage complete, and that is what we funded off of.
Okay.
So they were sending their draw requests for money to complete the project, to continue with the project. At that point in time, we will go over all of that, but then I will be with the developer, the engineer, whoever, and we'll walk the property to make sure that the percentage complete aligns with how much they're asking for.
Okay.
So that was the side that I was on.
Okay.
On the flip side now, I am actually managing. I'm the one looking for my property. I am the one that can go in and say, okay, we need to demo the kitchen, we need to demo the bathroom, this is what we need, these are the colors we need, and all of that. And again, I think all of that ties in for being a designer, because as a designer, you're creating. So once you have that sense, it's the same thing that goes from the clothing into the project. So you have that eye for both sides of it.
I got this question. I know, James, I just want to ask this question quick. Let's talk in numbers, because there's a lot of people out there who don't realize being an entrepreneur, because it sounds to me like you are able to follow process, you're able to understand the processes. How key was that into your entrepreneur endeavor and running these multiple businesses? How critical is being able to follow the money and understand the processes as an entrepreneur?
I really cannot take too much to say, hey, I know exactly how much it takes to do anything. But with me, a lot of it was trial and error.
Okay.
So I kind of learn as I go. I'm still making mistakes.
Okay.
But I don't look at it as mistakes. I look at it as lessons. Lessons learned. So this is a lesson that I learned from this. It's not going to happen again. And so I take that to the next project and the next project. But again, each project brings different situations that you have to deal with. And I'm being positive about it, and I handle it as it comes. But you don't allow it to take over your sleep or being too stressed out about it, because it always works out. Regardless of which way it go. You cannot pay for experience. And that's how I look at it. Because if you start counting dollars for, this is how much I paid for this training, then you'll never get anywhere. So for me, I look at it, I learned this experience, but you cannot put a dollar figure to it.
Ooh. James, was she on our phone call this morning?
I think she was. I think she was peeking in our window. Wow. Man.
So we are talking about money and talking about...
We're talking about business expenses, some like things like you can't pay for enough for training. Like a lot of times people get into business, they say, I don't want to take this class, I don't want to learn this, and people don't realize as an employee, there's expenses. We talked about, you know, you got to pay for gas. Sometimes you got the school and education. So there's expenses just being an employee. If you got daycare, well, that's a cost to go work on a job. But then when people start the businesses, sometimes they don't want to, they start monitoring the calls and gets tight and they get scared. And it stops them from growing.
And that's the truth, because for me, you have to be willing to take risk. So those who are going to take risk, they're the ones that can make it. But when you are scared to take risk and you're holding it too tight, how can you be able to make it? So for me, I'm a risk taker, because I know if I'm going to do this, I can make it work.
Woo! She's betting on her. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank y'all for the show. Dr. Marilyn Walker, thank you so much for being on today.
Welcome.
Pleasure.
Oh,
Pleasure's all mine.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
ladies and gentlemen, y'all got to know where to go to find her. MarieFrancisDesigns.com
or Marilyn Walker 1218 at gmail.com.
Reach out ASAP. Don't wait. Comment. We'll get y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week right back here on I Am the CEO Show. We love y'all, and look out for our new gear designed by Dr. Marilyn Walker. I'm putting it out there.
It's hoodie season, family. It's
I'm
hoodie
putting it out
season.
there. I am putting it out there, Dr.
Thank you, guys.